Hi, I just finally decided to start recording things. I'm still pretty new to this. As you can tell, there is no background sound. That is because it sounds like garbage. I will have a clip in editing of the old sound so you could tell why, and also not to mention the fact that in that edit I was just rambling without much direction involved. That works. I don't really feel like provoking the Sentinels right now. Those things get irritating. Not too hard to fight, they just won't leave you alone once you provoke them. Well, you heard it. This is actually a salvaged recording. Because of this, the whole thing sounded like that, in some places even worse. So most of this will also be blank background with more or less sort of like a review feel to it. I don't really know how else to describe it. It's certainly something. I guess I could do my best and explain more or less what was going on. Right there, I was realizing I didn't have enough in-game currency to change the color of my spaceship. So instead, I went on a tour of my spaceship base. Be sure to save often. My system isn't the greatest. This is not technically a gaming PC, so I'm having to make do. My other main thing with this was basically just a rundown of the basic mechanics. You get a backpack and you get a pistol. The pistol doesn't actually look like that. That's like an upgraded one you can get later on in the game. And yeah, some of this tour you'll see doesn't actually come with the spaceship. This is also expanded upon in the crafting aspect of the game. It's quite similar to Space Minecraft. It shares a lot of similarities, but it's also a lot different. When we go on out to the hangar area, we'll see that you get a big hangar space, room for 6 ships. There is 9 slots, but the game's coding requires that you leave 3 open for NPCs to come in, or other players if you get visited, which is quite rare, but can happen. It looks like a single-player game, and most of the time it functions as one. But it is actually not. It's just the map, which is 10 galaxies, will sort of spread people out quite a bit. In the video that I currently have so far, I've just been sort of showcasing some of the simpler fetch quest missions. And what I did right there in the original recording was showing off some of the ships I have. Those are not fully repaired yet, so I'm still using the terrible starter ship that I have fittingly named the Flying Trash Can. It's quite something. It's almost rock bottom tier, and flies about as well as a dumpster with wings. It's not very maneuverable at all, but that may be my own inadequacy talking. I'm not actually that far into the game. I've gotten most of like the main storyline done, but there are some things I have yet to do. Those story missions I do not record because those would contain lore spoilers for people wanting to play the game for themselves. Right here, I'll just back up the ship a little bit and show off my freighter, which looks something like a Venator Star Destroyer and the Enterprise from Star Trek mashed together. It's interesting. Also, with the magic of editing, I'll just skip the travel time to this planet so we can get to the interesting bit. Get a good landing. This is technically a desert planet. It doesn't look like it, but the game classifies it as so, and there's cactuses. I guess it could qualify as like a wasteland planet at the same time, but it has desert attributes such as the cold nights. What I was doing in this recording is looking for copper since I was out. In a few minutes, I'm also going to do another messy cut to walking to the copper. The resources, unlike in Minecraft where you get like nice cubic resource piles, No Man's Sky gives you lumps, and you have to dig it out the best you can and try not to clutter your inventory with unwanted silicate powder, which is just basically dirt. It does take quite a long time to dig this out. So, I guess we'll just sort of fly out of the hole. And an interesting feature in this game you can get eventually, it's an upgrade I got, is you can summon vehicles to yourself. I'm not doing this quite yet. I'm still gathering other materials because you need... Your equipment apparently runs on carbon and oxygen. You can also fuel it with dirt if you have it on a certain setting, but carbon's just easier to get sometimes. Past me, why are you looking back in the hole? Just get your ship already. Since that's pretty far away, we can skip that using the ship teleport. Isn't this marvelous? It saves a lot of walking, which you'll be doing a lot of in this game. If you decide to get it for yourself, like that previous cut, I've cropped out a lot of the long distance travel. Yeah, that's the specs of the flying trash can. I do have a really good launch system, so I don't have to worry about refueling that all the time like I used to. That you have to craft fuel or find uranium, and crafting fuel is usually a lot easier than hunting down uranium. So, ask me, why do you do things like this? Oh yeah, in the hyperdrive, you're not stuck in one solar system. You can go all over the place. Because I'm trying to conserve on that fuel, I'll probably just be using a lot of the base teleports and space station teleports. And away we go! So for this next bit, there's still a bit of travel time involved, so I'm just going to cut that out. On the way to the space station, I did get into some space combat. This sort of thing isn't really all of that difficult. They just sort of fly in circles and shoot at you occasionally. That is, it wouldn't be all that difficult if I actually hit it. This ship that I'm currently using is not maneuverable, very well, so hence the clunky movements. Sometimes you'll get things from blowing up the space pirates. Only one limium this time. It's disappointing. Usually you get a little bigger reward than that. I guess it was by himself, so probably not going to have too much good. And skip to the space station. These things are nice. They are like the hub of each system. And they can do things. You can buy and sell ships. You can change your character's appearance. Pretty much every system has one. There's the occasional system that does not have one of these. Oh yeah, the scrap dealer. You can purchase coordinates to places like derelict wrecks in the void of space. But I'm not here for that right now. What I'm here to do is basically just offload the stuff I got from flying around. And move on with my life. Now, previous me in the recording took a very long time, no doubt, explaining in depth how the stock market-esque thing involved with this works. But I don't really feel like doing that. That's the wiki exists for a reason. It's extremely complicated, and this clip isn't long enough for me to go into detail for that. This is one of the 3 types of alien in this game, called a Vy'keen. The second is on that balcony. Those cyborgs are called Korvax. And the third type, sort of frog-like, are called Gek. I'll show a little bit about them at another point in the video. But for now, there is a base building element on the planets themselves. I'm just gonna skip the teleport because that takes a long time, and here we are. This is my little wooden hut on an Earth-like world in this solar system. You can go to other solar systems, and as a matter of fact, it's a major part of the game. But for the purposes of this current segment of video, we won't get into that quite yet. Right about here is when past me discovers that I don't have enough copper. And thus begins one of the most painful searches I've ever had to do in this game, because it's completely randomized. This planet does have copper on it, so I didn't need to fly back to the desert world. That dune buggy looking thing is called an exocraft. You do not get these at the start of the game. You have to get the blueprint somehow, either through completing the story or buying the blueprint. they're ish fast. You can boost them. And they do require power, so sometimes you gotta feed it carbon. This is not the only exocraft I have. There's also a submarine.
One hour later.
Still no copper. I've searched for I don't know how long. Planets will sometimes have flyovers, just like that one. They're harmless if you don't shoot at them. It's relatively simple. Just let them go past, and you don't have an issue. In this clip, I'm looking at the different specs to my exocraft, and I renamed it from the default called Roamer to Vroom Vroom Smiley. Now, to hop into the newly christened Vroom Vroom and keep looking for the copper. Oh boy. It's unfortunate this thing corrupted. I had a pretty long clip in there too. Basically what happened is I went back to my capital ship and built this thing called an agriculture terminal that's basically gonna fuel my farming stuff. What I've been doing here in this clip, before I warped back to the main system, was I had traveled out of the system to go grab a GEC to run that thing. And I really like you can spin the chairs, so I do it frequently. This cube sometimes will give you stuff. It does not appear to be cooperating at that time. But, off we go, and to cross our fingers that the game doesn't crash, and I don't lose more footage, because that was frustrating. Now, to head to the capital ship. The travel time wasn't very long this time around, so I left it in. The thing about did a little bit of asteroid mining as well. The thing about this is you can get pulse engine fuel, which is the tritium, and you can also get silver and gold, which was my intention here. Remarkably, the combat weapons work pretty good as mining things. And that green laser was originally intended to be a miner thing, but it also works pretty good in combat. Who knew? Previous me also explained this, which is probably why I was jiggling. This next little bit I will have sped up because for some reason I decided to drive really, really slowly into the main hangar. Alright, we're back where we started. Sometimes I question previous me. I don't know why he's doing this. Anyways, we're just gonna overshoot the letter. And go back up the stairs to the main floor of the capital ship, where I will then, for some reason, turn around and go up a hallway that I put here on impulse, and wanted to continue that build, but realized I was out of silver and didn't have enough, and didn't feel like going out to get more. Drop a save, then my lizard friend and his pointy hat. He gave me some blueprints that I can't use. Alright, now that I've accepted the mission, I will then go and attempt to build those grow beds. Wait, this isn't Subnautica, the hydroponics tray, only to discover that I don't have the materials for it. I don't have any facium, and I don't have anything to make metal plating. For some reason I have pure ferrite. Maybe it's in the freighter storage? I also don't have much room to expand my other enterprises, like the refiners and such. So, I just build the thing I can. And putting down a lamp instead. I dub the Lamp of Disappointment. I was about to actually go start the new mission, sort of demonstrate how looking for things works besides copper. Maybe demonstrate some crafting. But then I looked down at my clock on my monitor and realized it was midnight when I was recording this segment. So, yeah. Well, that'll be it for this particular video. Everything that could have possibly gone wrong with both editing and recording this thing went wrong. It was, an episode full of Murphy's Law. I mean, what else would we expect? I'd sort of figured it would be a dumpster fire, being a first try. But, I think it went okay. If you're watching this on YouTube, feel free for putting feedback in the comments. If you want to drop some salt, I guess that's justified. This is a first try. But, helpful criticism at the same time would also be welcomed as well.